Okay, we are discussing about functions in Oracle. What is it function? What is a function? It performs some tasks as per the given input values and returns output value or values. So again, there are two types of functions that is supported by Oracle. You have predefined functions and also the user-defined functions. And the predefined functions are especially used in SQL and PLSQL. But if you want to create any function that is designed by, if you want to design any function, then you need to use what? PLSQL, the advanced SQL. So you do not have an option to do that in the SQL, right? And again, we have discussed about predefined functions, which are categorized into two types. Single row functions you have, which is also called as scalar functions, and you have something like multiple row functions, which is called as aggregate functions or grouping functions. So we just started about single row functions, which are it returns only one value. You have numeric functions, character functions, date functions, conversion functions, and analytical functions, right? So yesterday we have seen some examples about the dual table. So it's just a dummy table, and if you want to test anything, okay, if you want to test the table, for example, any functionalities, you can use this dual table. It is a system defined or a predefined table. It is already there, which has only one row and one column, which is just there to check the functionalities, right? And it's also called as a dummy table, and this is how the description of the table looks like, right? One row and one column. After this, we have started with the numeric function, and you have ABS function. You have converting the negative value to the positive value, right? And we have like we have the ceil function, which is going to round off the floating point. If you have any floating point numbers, that is going to get rounded off to the next integer value, right? And you have the floor, which is going to get the rounded off. The floating point value gets rounded off to the to the least. The actual integer value. If it is 10.98, so it gets rounded off to the 10 itself. Okay, and you have mod function, which is going to return the remainder. Mod means just think about the remainder, and we have discussed about the power function. So there are few more functions under these numeric functions today. We will discuss that, and we will start discussing about the character or string functions. Okay, let us get it started. The next function that we are going to discuss is actually we use these functions to perform a lot of operations. Sometimes we combine all the functions. Okay, we do combine all the functions together to create a complex function also. So that is also possible depending upon the requirements. Okay, the actual requirement will be seen only right when we start practicing. So it depends upon how you want to retrieve the data. So you see this requirement, you can able to use these functions after seeing upon the requirements. Now the next function is round function. Okay, so there is a small difference between the round function and the functions which we have discussed yesterday, especially the ceil function and the floor function. It is similar to that, but here you will need to understand how the floating point value is getting rounded up, right? So let me give you the definition. Actually, let us try to understand this by the definition. Okay, it just returns nearest value of the given expression. Nearest value of the given expression. First one. The second point is it considers based upon the 0.5 expression. It considers based upon the 0.5 expression. I will tell you what does it really mean. Okay. If expression is greater than or equal to 0.5, then 1 will be added to the given expression. If the expression is lesser than 0.5, then 0 will be added. Let us understand this definition with a few examples. I will give you the justification. What is happening behind the scenes is, now you see, let me give you the syntax. Okay, syntax says you have the round function. Round function is going to accept an expression, right? And there are two parameters. One parameter is you will pass an expression, okay, and there is another parameter called the decimal places. Decimal places. Okay, so this is the syntax. And if you see, the decimal places are something optional, not mandatory, optional. Okay, this place is optional. Okay, let me take a small number. For example, so I want to use a round function by passing a number like 45 point something, like let us pass 443. Since I have said that the decimal places are optional, okay, I'm just passing the expression. Okay, the expression is nothing but the actual number. So the number is going to have the integer part as well as the floating point. So that is actually called as an expression. So when I say expression, it is nothing but the actual number which has the integer part as well as the floating point part. Okay, and if you look at this number, you can clearly say that, okay, it has two integer values and it has two floating point values, right? After the decimal point, it has two numbers in the floating point value. In the floating point part, it has two numbers in the integer part. Now just focus on the floating point part. Okay, just focus on the floating point part. What we have the number, what? 0.43. 0.43. Okay, just consider 0.4. Just consider what? Consider only one digit after the decimal point. After the decimal point, just consider only first digit. Okay, now look at this. Look at the definition which I have given. Look at the declaration that I have given. What I did, what I just said, if the expression is 0.5, I mean greater than or equal to 0.5. We look at this. 0.4 is something lesser than 0.5. So 0.4 is something which is what? Which is lesser than 0.5. Isn't it? It is not greater than 0.5. 0.4 is lesser than 0.5. Then if it is lesser than 0.5, the actual number remains what? It remains unaffected, which means the resultant value is going to be what? 45.43. Okay, let me execute this in the table. Well, my DB 7 AM. Okay. Now what I am doing, select round .43, isn't it? 45.43. 43 from 12. Now you see this is I am using the round function. I am passing an expression. Expression is nothing but the number itself. Don't worry, don't think much. It is a number. It has which has integer part as well as the floating point part. But if you see, it is getting rounded off to what? It is getting rounded off to 45. Right? Now what is the answer that we are getting here? 45 we are getting. Right? So why we are getting 45? Now if you look at the floating point value, or if you look at the number after the decimal point, okay, it is 0.4. And if you see the 0.4, 0.4 is something that is matching this, isn't it? Okay, 0.4, what it says, this is an expression which is lesser than 0.5, means you will add 0, 0 will be added. When I say 0 will be added, okay, it is just like you will add 0 in the integer part. You will add 0 in the integer part. 45 plus 0. Okay, the output is going to be 45 itself. You will add 0 in the integer part. So it is divided into two parts. One is what? One is the integer part. Okay. The numbers which are just before the decimal point, integer part. And the second one is what? The second one is the floating point part. This is representing the floating point part, or the fractional part, you can say. Fractional part. Okay, just take the fractional part. It is 0.43. It is not 0.4. It is 0.43. Okay. Just consider the first fractional part, which is 0.4 itself. Just try to do the comparison. If it is lesser than 0.5, you just add 0 to the decimal part. It becomes 45. Okay, the rounding off is happening. When I say rounding off, the fractional part is getting eliminated. It's like 45.43, and the rounding off is happening. Rounding off means this fractional part will get eliminated. Okay, at the time of elimination, it has to get rounded off to the possible value, which is what? Is what? 45 itself. Why 45 itself? You have the fractional part as 0.43. This 0.43 will actually get a comparison like this. Okay, especially the 0.4, which is lesser than 0.5, you just add 0 to that. That's it. Let me introduce another example. If I say 45.63, 45.63, let me run this. Now you're getting 46. Why you are getting 46? Let us bring this example to the pane screen. You're getting 46 here. Now just try to differentiate the integer part and the fractional part. Integer part is what? 45. Okay, fractional part is what? 0.63. Okay, just consider only the 0.6. Okay, just consider the 0.6 and do the comparison. 0.6 is greater than or equal to 0.5. If the 0.6, if the fractional part is greater than or equal to 0.5, 1 will be added. 1 will be added to the integer part, right? So what is integer part? We have 45, right? 45 plus 1 equal to what? 46. So this is how the fractional part is getting eliminated. That's why you're getting 46 in the console. So this is one of the what we call it as one of the scenarios. You can have many number of scenarios. Why? Because if you look at the syntax of the round function, is accepting an expression. Also, this decimal places are optional, but we are not taking now. We are just using what? We are just considering the expression part. So we are not using decimal places. Okay, we'll understand what would be the result when we start using the decimal places, right? So this is one of the examples. Let me put it here. Okay. Now if I ask you a question, okay, what would be the value? Okay, now you tell me what would be the value when I use the rounding off function by considering 45.5. 46. Why? Because this fractional part is what? It is greater than or equal to 0.5. Isn't it? It has to be what? 46. What would be the answer if I do 45.49? 45 only, because this fractional part 0.4 is it is again it is lesser than 0.5. 45, right? So we haven't started using the complete syntax. Okay, what the complete syntax says, you can pass an expression followed by, you can also pass what, you can also pass the decimal places. So if you are passing one, you're just passing one, let us see the output. Okay, what would happen? Okay, output is coming as what? 45.5. You are just passing one, but the output is affected. Output is saying what? 45.5. Now focus here, what is happening behind the scenes. Okay? Now focus here. Let me take this. So this is the example, and you have what? Okay. So this is the what? This is the expression. Okay, this is the expression. Again, inside the expression, you have the integer part, I part, and you have the fractional part. Okay, F part. Right, and you are using what? You are using the decimal places as 1. So it would consider taking 45 point, the one fractional part after the decimal point, which is what? 4. Which is what? 4. But if you see the next value is 9, isn't it? So the value that is going to get eliminated, is 9. Okay, now what happens? This 9 will be compared. Okay, this 9 will be compared, like you can take it as like 0.9. This will be compared with the two conditions which I have just described here. Okay, now this will be treated as an expression. Okay, and this will be compared with, if so the expression is greater than or equal to, this is greater than or equal to 0.5. So 1 will be added. 1 will be added. 1 will be added where? 1 will be added, right? Since this 9 is getting eliminated, right? And this you will be adding 1. You will be adding 1, not I 1. Okay, 1 will be added to the to the 0.4, to the 0.4, to its previous floating point number, to its previous floating point number, right? So what you get? 45.4. So the 1 will be added to the previous floating point number, which is what here. It is just like 0.1. Okay, and the resultant value is going to be what? 45.5. That's why you're getting 45.5. We will see another example. Now if I say 45.59, okay, you see what? You see 45.6. Why you are seeing 45.6 here? These are the school time mathematics, I think. Okay, we have studied this already during our school days. Now you see, and you have the expression. This expression has what? Integer part as well as the fractional part. This is integer part. 45 is the integer part, and the 59 is the fractional part, isn't it? So you are taking what? You are taking the decimal places as 1, which means it has to eliminate what? It has to eliminate the it will consider only one floating point only one fractional number. The remaining number 9 will be get eliminated. So before eliminating this 9, okay, what would happen? This 9 will be has to go through those conditional checks, because the number has to get rounded off. It will not get rounded off just like that. It will check those two conditions which I have just given before. Okay, these two conditions. Okay, so if the eliminated number is greater than or equal to, it is greater than or equal to 0.5, isn't it? When it is greater than or equal to 0.5, what is it? 1 will be added. Same number I am taking up 45 point. Now this time I am taking 45.59, right? So 1 will be 9. 1 will be added, right? So now 0.9 is like 1 will be added to whom? 1 will be added to the previous fractional part, which is what? 45 point. 59. So 1 will be added to the previous fractional part, which is to the 5. To the 5, because this is a number that is getting eliminated. This will be compared with the given conditions. After the comparison, okay, we will come to a conclusion. There will be a decision taken. What kind of decision? Either we have to add 1 or we have to add 0. Since it is greater than or equal to the given expression, 1 will be added to its previous fractional part, which is what? 5. 5 is the previous fractional part. So 45 min 0.1 will be added here. The resultant value is going to be what? 45.6. You will see a few more examples. So what if the number is something like 563.345, 1. Okay. Now the answer is getting what? 563.3. Why 563.3? Okay, it is going to consider you are passing 1, right? 1 means only one fractional part, up to one fractional part will be considered. What are the remaining numbers? Okay, what are the numbers that are getting eliminated? 4, 5 is are the float fractional part numbers that are getting eliminated. Okay, just consider the 4. Okay, just do the conditional check. If 0.4 is lesser than or equal to 0.5. Okay, it is not. I mean, it is 0.4 is lesser than or equal to 0.5, which means 0 will be added to the the nearest floating point number, to the 3. That's why the number is getting like 563.3. You do the opposite. For example, if you take something like, okay, now if you see the answer, you're getting 563.4. Okay, let us understand this one example so that we will get complete color. Okay. The moment you get this number, always try to differentiate which is an expression. Okay, this is the expression. Okay, this is the expression part. This is called as what? Expression. You are passing an expression which is nothing but the number itself. Number with integer part as well as fractional part. Separate the integer part. 563. Integer part. Right? Separate the fractional part. 365. 365 is the fractional part. Okay, and in the fractional part, okay, you want to consider only one decimal place, right? You have to consider only one decimal place. So you will consider only 0.3 and 65 will be eliminated. 65 is going to get eliminated, and from the 65, just take the 6, okay, like 0.6 and do the comparison. If 0.6 is greater than or equal to 0.5, 0.5. Yes, it is going to get satisfied. You will be adding 1. Add 1 to the floating point number that is just before 6. Okay, add 1 to the floating point number that is just before 6. Okay, this is a number that is just before 6, right? 0.3. So we'll be adding what? 1. 1 in the sense, when I say 1, it is like a 0.1. Okay, the 0.3 plus 0.1 is going to give what? 0.4. Okay, this 0.4 will be concatenated with the integer part. 563 is integer part and 0.4 will be concatenated. That's why you're getting output as. Understanding? Right? If you practice few more examples like this, you will get it. Okay, it is not a rocket science. Just practice, just do some practices. Definitely these things will be understood clearly. Right? The next function is we have what? The trunc function. The next function, trunc function. Okay. It is completely opposite to the round function. The trunc function says it is going to return. It returns an exact value from the given expression. Exact value from the given expression. Okay, the second thing is it does not consider the 0.5 expression. Unlike round function, it does not consider the 0.5 expression. Okay, example, the syntax is syntax. Let me give the syntax. Okay, the syntax says trunc expression comma decimal places. Okay, and again these decimal places are what? These decimal places are something like a optional kind of thing. Okay, let us understand this. Select trunc 45.45 from 12. Okay, you are getting 45 itself. It is getting rounded off to 45 itself. Okay, select the trunc something like, let me take like 59. Okay, you will get 45 only. So if you are not passing the decimal places, right, the actual integer part will be given to you. The actual integer part will be returned. For example, if you take a number like 459 comma 99, okay, so you are just giving the expression, right? Expression means what? Integer part as well as the fractional part. And if you just try to see the functionality, it's just returning the integer part, so it is not changing anything. So it is a kind of like, it is not getting rounded up. Right now you tell me what would be the answer if I do something like 9.99. Okay, what would be the answer for this? Hello. 9 itself, right? Output remains unaffected. Okay, these are the examples. Let me take this. Okay, now let us try to place the second the optional part, which is what the decimal places also. Let us try to consider decimal places also. The moment I do trunc, okay, let us say that 67.895, let me say 2 here. Okay, from 12. Okay, the output remains unaffected. It will consider the integer part just like that. It will consider the fractional part till, right, till where? Till the number that we are defining it in the decimal places. You are giving 2 as the decimal places. It will consider just 2 numbers after the point, after decimal point. If you place 3 here, it will consider 3 decimal values. Right? For example, let us say that we have a number like 67.78, and you are passing 3 in the decimal places, but here there are only 2 decimal places, isn't it? But if you pass 3 also, no issues. You will get what? 67.78. Why 67.78? But you have only 2 floating point numbers here, but you are passing 3 decimal places, because after 67.78 the remaining numbers are assumed to be what? Zeros itself. So those zeros will be eliminated, and the idea is the actual number will remain unaffected. In future you will be dealing with this for example the high precision numbers. When I say high precision numbers, the precision is more. For example, you can have the floating point values like floating point values can be generated up to 4 decimal places or something like many number of decimal places, but you want to store only, want to consider only the first 2 decimal places. So you do what, you just give 2 here. Okay, so it will consider only the first 2 decimal places. So there are some opportunities, there are some areas where you have to use this kind of trunc functions. When you get complex operations, when you deal with the table to especially the data with the high precision, a number with high precision like this, so you use the trunc function. And this is one of the example. So this is all about the trunc function. So these are the complete things about the numerical functions. Next you have what? Next you have the character function or string function. Character or string functions. Okay, the first function is what? The length function. Okay, so these things are very easy to understand. It just returns the number of characters. Number of characters in the given expression. Okay, syntax. Syntax says length. Okay, you can pass a string. Pass any string. You're going to get, it is going to return the length of that particular string. Example. Clear screen. Select length. Okay. When I say allow from 12, it gives 5. It will count the number of characters. Okay, HELLO. There are 5 characters. It's going to return 5. If I give a space, this space will also be counted. I am giving 1 space, that will also be counted. I am giving 2 spaces, that will also be counted, because the space will also be treated as a character. So you are getting 7. The characters are 5, but there are 2 spaces here. So that's why the length is what? Length is going to become 7. So this is one of the example of what? Of the length function. Right? Length function. You see how you can use this effectively. Let us try to understand with the table. Select, okay, let me do the set a size 100, set lines to 150, select star from emp. Okay, I want to find the length of my employees. I want to find the length of my employees. Okay, I have 10 employees. I want to find the length. How I can do? I can do what? Select the star, or let us say select employee name. Okay, I can use length function. Length function, I can pass the employee name column as LE name. Pseudonym I am taking an alias name. L employee name from employee. Okay, I am selecting the employee name column. First of all, it is very clear. Next, what I am doing, I am using the length function directly here. Okay, length function. So in this length function, I am passing the column name. What? Which column name? Employee name itself I am passing. Okay, and I want to display that column. Okay, I am using alias name, and I want to display the column, the name called, the manipulated column with the name called what? LE name, which is what? Length of email. You can give any name here. From which table? From employee table. You want to do this John, the length of the John is 4. Jane, the length of the Jane is 4. Like that you will be getting the output. I also want to, if I want to specifically do this in the, another way, I can do like this. Select star from employee. I can also do the conditional checks by using the var class, where length of the employee. I'm using the length function. Length function, I am passing the employee column here equal to 4. So this is the condition. Okay, the condition says just retrieve me the data of the employees whose name is just equal to what? 4. Whose name has only 4 characters. Whose name has only 4 characters. John, Jane, Mike, and Sarah. Right? You want to retrieve the length of the employees whose name is greater than 4 characters. You have Chris, you have David, you have Emily, and you have Oliver. But you can combine all the you can combine functions, as per the actual requirements. You can use var clause and you can use the function here. What function you want to do, on which column you want to do. You can describe that, right? This is one of the examples. So it's like a kind of easy thing, guys. If you just start practicing, you will get a lot of insights, and you can define the things as per your requirement. Okay, you can play with these functions as per the requirement. You'll get more ideas when you start practicing. But when you start uh, thinking it as a beginner, or when you just listen to it, and when you do not do any practice, so these things will be kind of it is going to create some complexity. Okay, that complexity will be eliminated only when you start practicing. Okay, these things are really easy. It is the nursery level thing. Oracle is something like anyone can learn nursery stuff. Okay, by looking at the explanation, you will be I'm pretty sure that it will be like a kind of difficult thing, but it is not the case actually. You get more interest only when you start practicing, but if you don't practice, it will be very difficult for you to go forward, because only if you understand these things, okay, there will be magical things in the advanced SQL. Okay, you will see, you will get some goosebumps when you try to create a complex query and retrieve a retrieve the data with high precision. That will be very much interesting. So to understand that, if I'm taking class for 1 hour, only 15 minutes or 20 minutes of practicing will be more than enough, right? Let us see the remaining functions. We have what? Lower function, lower and upper function. Name itself says lower means what? Lower function is going to convert a particular string to the lower case. Okay? It converts particular string to the lower case. Okay, upper means what? It converts the particular string to the uppercase. Particular string to the uppercase. Let us see some examples. Clear screen. Select lower. Okay. I'm passing a string. Hello from Google. Okay. Actually I have passed the lowercase letter, so it is output remains unaffected. So I need to test this by passing the characters, or by passing a string which is completely in uppercase. So allow is in uppercase, so now it is getting converted. Since I have passed the I want to do the conversion, I have passed a string which is also in lowercase, right? So that's why the output remains unaffected. So when you pass the string with uppercase characters, you get the output as what? Output in the lowercase characters. Same thing goes for upper also. Upper is a function which is going to consume a string, right? And if the string is in the lower case, it is going to convert all the characters to uppercase. Okay? Allow lowercase as not convert to uppercase. Right? Let us take these two examples. Two examples are fine, I guess. Okay, now we will see some problems on this. Not problems. We'll try to understand this from the actual table. We select from EM. You have the employee table. So if you see, all the employees are exactly in the right format. So the first letter is starting with the uppercase, and the second remaining letters are the lowercase. I want to convert all the employee names in the uppercase. What I will be doing? Select ename, comma, upper function, and this function will be accepting the column ename itself as formatted name. F name. F means formatted name from emp. Okay, I'm selecting the column ename, very clear, and I'm using the function upper, right? So I will be passing the ename itself, and the resultant values should be under my own column name, which is F name. So as F name from emp, right? So when you see the output, okay, you have ename John. The resultant values are what? Something like this. I also want to perform some other thing. It's not only about the retrieving data. For example, let us say that I want to update something. Update employee table. Set ename. Set ename to upper. Set ename to upper ename. Okay. Set ename to upper ename. I'm placing a condition here where job equal to SC, software engineer. Now you see, I'm using the update condition, update employee table. I want to set employee name only. I want to set employee name. I want to set employee name by using the upper function. I'm passing the ename column here. Okay, I'm placing a condition by using where clause where do this only if the job is software engineer, if the job is SC. So when you look at the job, you have SC here and you have SC here. Only these two employee names will be converted complete to the updated to the uppercase. You just select star from emp, you can see the changes. John is completely updated to the uppercase and David is completely updated to the uppercase, right? So you can also use these updates wherever you want. You can use this. Okay, it is not like you have to use in particular pages. You can use everywhere where the requirement is actually needed. You can also actually do the update, right? So this is an example. Next function we have what? L trim and R trim function. L trim means left trim, and you have what? You have R trim. R trim means right trim. What does this function have to do with this? L trim. L trim function. To eliminate, it is used to eliminate the unwanted characters from the left side of the string. From the left side of the given string. L trim, and you have something like R trim. Okay, R trim is going to eliminate the unwanted characters from the right side of the given string. Okay. Now syntax says syntax L trim. Okay, you will pass a string, comma, it accepts true arguments. You will pass a string and you will pass the characters that you want to trim. Likewise, there is a syntax for R trim also. R trim, you will pass a string, okay, and you will pass the stringing, trimming characters. Let us understand this. The SQL plus. Okay. Select L trim. Let us say that I have something like I have let me take Suresh. Okay, this is my actual string. I want to do what? I want to just remove the characters by using the LStream function, especially the unwanted characters, which is X here. I want to use that this second argument X, which is accepting the trimming characters, the characters that you want to trim from the left side. Okay, when I do this from dual, you get only Suresh. Well, let's see another example. If I'm not, for example, if I'm not using anything, if I'm not passing anything, let us assume that there are some spaces just before the string Suresh. Let's assume that there are some spaces and I'm not passing the second argument. I'm just giving the actual string here. This is the actual string, but I'm not passing the second argument, which is what the trimming characters. If I don't pass the trimming characters, okay, it is going to remove the spaces, remove the unwanted spaces that is already there. This is the default functionality. If not passing anything, it will check for is there any spaces just before the string. If there are such spaces, those spaces will be removed by default. The default activity is the spaces will be removed. If you do not want to go with the default activity, if you want to remove the specific characters, for example, let us say that I have characters like XXX, YYY, ZZZ. Okay, this XXX, YYY, ZZZ are the what? Are the unwanted characters. I'll be using what? XYZ here. Okay. It is going to remove X, Y, and Z. But if you see these things, okay, the trimming characters that we are passing will check for each and every character and it will remove only when it is seeing it for the first occurrence. For example, you take the you take the same string and if you place XXX in the middle of the name Suresh, okay, and if you execute this function, if you execute this function by passing the trimming characters as X, Y, Z, now see the result. Okay, the leftmost side has got eliminated, but if you see this XXX character which is within the name, okay, it is getting repeated for the second time. I can say that it is the second occurrence. First occurrence has been completely removed. Sequentially, when it sees the character sequentially for the first time, that will be removed, but when you repeat that for the second time, that will not be removed. That you do not have to deal with all these options. Typically we will get a string from the front end side or from the back end side. Sometimes the string will have some unwanted what we call it as the this kind of symbol. Sometimes it will have spaces, sometimes it will have a kind of symbols like @ symbol, right? You get all the names by what you will get @ Suresh. Okay, you just want to remove this @ okay, you will just use @ symbol. Okay, it will be eliminated. Okay, just try to imagine that all the characters in the left side, unwanted characters in the left side, that will be removed. If you go for R trim, right, all the unwanted characters in the right side of the string. Okay, unwanted characters. Let us say that this is an unwanted character. You want to remove that. Okay. Right side of the string, unwanted characters will be removed. If you're not giving the second argument, if you're not passing the second argument, and if you have some spaces, by default the spaces will be trimmed. When you say the space is there in the left side, the space is also there in the right side, but you are using what? You are using the R trim here. R trim. So only the spaces in the right side will be removed. The spaces in the left side will not be removed. If the spaces are there here. Space is there. Right? And if you do the same thing, instead of R trim, if you do the L trim, only spaces in the left side will be removed by default. Hello, are we back? This is the functionality about what? The left trim and the right trim. Let us take these examples. You can take this example. You can include this example. For the R trim, you can include this example. R trim. Okay. And you have something like the trim function is there. Trim function. Okay, it is the functionality is it removes unwanted characters from the both side. From the both side of the string. This syntax. Syntax says trim. Okay, you will just pass the trimming characters. Trimming characters from string. Okay. So the example is very simple. You are just clearing the screen. Okay. After clearing the screen, let me use the trim function. Select trim. Okay. You want to remove what? You want to remove x from. Okay, you want to define the actual string here. For example, let us say that actual string is xxxx is xxxx from 2. We'll get Suresh. From the left side, from the right side, it is removed. But syntactically, it is accepting the character that you want to remove, the trimming character that you want to remove from the first or over here, and you will be using a kind of word like f. I mean, from word you will be using, then the actual string. Okay, and if you do something like, for example, if you say xy, you pass the two characters, it is going to give you an error. Okay, trim function is set to have only one character. So in the LTrim function, in the RTrim function, you have an option to pass the two characters based upon the sequence, based upon the occurrences. The exact characters are going to be removed. But over here, it is not the case. It's not the case over here. You have an option to pass only one character, right? And this X will be checked from the left side as well as from the right side. All the characters will be removed as per the given character. Okay? So this is the point to be noted. Trim set to have only one character. Trim set should have only one character. This is the example. Note. The next function you have what? You have something like the concat function. Concat. So what this function usually does is it is going to add. You want to add two strings. You can use concat function. Syntax. Syntax is something like concat string 1 string 2. Okay, now let us understand this. Okay, select concat. Let me pass the string as to I. Let me pass the string to as hello. From to hi hello. So it is going to concat the two given strings. Okay, let us try to understand this from the table example. Select star from employee. Now if you see, I have the employee name listed, right? John, Jane, something like that. What I want to do, I want to perform the concat operation by to fulfill my requirement. My requirement is I want to select employee name. Okay, I want to use the concat function on the employee names. Concat function on the employee names. What I want to do, I will be adding a string called something like Mr. or Mrs. Okay. Or else let me do the same thing. I say that I'm taking the employee name and I want to generate the email addresses, right? I should concat at the rate gmail.com. This is my requirement as Gmail. Gmail is the Gmail employee names from EM. Okay, this is not properly terminated. Now if you see John at the rate gmail.com, Jane at the rate email.com, Mike at the rate email.com. Things like this are happening. David at the rate gmail.com. Now if you see, some Gmails are what with the uppercase, some are the lowercase, right? It's not the formatting has not happened properly. Now what I want to do, I want to create a complex function. Okay, so at the rate of gmail.com, I am doing what? I'm using the lower function inside. Okay, so this is the concat function. Okay, you have employee name. Okay, and previously I have used I want to concatenate at the rate gmail.com, but this time, since the Gmail is already in lower. Okay, let me remove this, so we do not have to deal with the I want to convert all the names to the lowercase letter first, then I want to concat the gmail.com. So what can I do? I wanted to create a complex function, a function inside a function. So here in it. Now if you see, John is in uppercase, first it is getting converted to lowercase. Okay, then the concatenation is happening. Gmail.com. Jane is in uppercase, lowercase conversion, then the concatenation happening. Mike uppercase. When Mike means first letter of the Mike is uppercase, everything is getting converted to lowercase and the concatenation is happening. So you are doing the complex functionality here. Let me copy this. Okay. So this is one function, lower function, right? Firstly, all the employee names will be converted to lowercase. Employee names gets converted to lowercase. Okay. After doing this, you are performing the concatenation operation by using a particular string called gmail.com. Right? So you are placing a function inside another function to create a complex function. A function is placed inside the another function to create what? To create the complex operation. Right? So this is all about the character, what we call it as the character functions or the string functions. There are few more functions that we will be discussing tomorrow. So tomorrow is Sunday. We will continue tomorrow also because I have given leave on Wednesday. We'll continue tomorrow also. Tomorrow the classes are going to be very interesting. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me or I can leave for the day.